Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age community. This is Charles with Cybershit Gaming, and I've got another Ninth Age battle report. So coming off my previous battle report, still these are Canada battle reports, at Sonnstahl that I played last Saturday, and these are also 2.204 lists as well. Unfortunately, the event organizer wanted to do 0.205, but it just took a little too long. I think it came out the day before. It came out last Friday. We played last Saturday, so couldn't really jump up into 0.205. So at game 2, I played Infernal Dwarves, and we also had a list review where we ranked this list. And in this guy's first game, it was pretty tough to call. It was a nice UD list. He has a very centered. You'll see in a second here his Infernal Dwarf block. He's got an Infernal Guard unit that he's got a lot of eggs in one basket, so it's a tough unit to crack. He's got a Prophet, basically got a 1-up armor save, 4-up fortitude. He's rocking alchemy, and then he's also got a Vizier. He's also got a 1-up. He's got a couple banners though. He's got the Flaming Standard and the Banner of Relentless Company. Kadim bindings, that gives him the same rule as the Kadims, 5-up Aegis and the 2-up base to base hits. And then in his core, he's got 2 small things of Flintlocks. Nice scoring, little shooting. Big block of Hobgoblins, 30 Hobgoblins, all with bows, spears, and shields. I love how these guys can get more upgrades than the slaves. I love how orcs are slaves. Hobgoblins are like minor citizens. 2 units of orc slaves as well in core. And then rounding out his list, as you can see there, that's what I was talking about earlier, got a big block of Immortals. 29 Immortals with full command, shields, infernal weapons, and the icon of Inferno, which is going to work out really well for him this game. I mean, that banner's great. I don't think any ID banner, any ID list should not take it. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's too good. I know you can't take it on core units. That's the good thing. My friend who plays ID, I know he puts on his BSB a lot, which is good. Yeah, so then he's got just a small bolt thrower, and then I didn't even really notice this, but he's almost maxed out his barrage category, which is interesting, with 2 Titan mortars, and they're both bound demons, so those are, pretty scary artillery weapons, but also, tough to kill in combat. And then he's got 1 Kadim Titan to round out his list. Yeah, 4493 points. And then, again, I'm just gonna, just go over my list real quick. It's the 80 flag list, so I've got a Marshal, I've got 3 Prelates, they've all got 1-ups. The one that's got my General has got a Grey Weapon and the Lucky Charm. And then I've got a Wizard rocking Pyromancy. He's only got a 4-up armor save and a 3-up Flaming Aegis save, and then he's got the Magical Heirloom. Wizard Master, obviously. And then in core, I've got just everything scoring. 3 units of heavy infantry, 1 with halberds, 1 with spears, 1 with sword and board, and then they're kind of decreasing in the amount of models per one. And then just 2 units of light infantry, 2 cannons, and then 80 flagellants. All 3 with champions, and 28, 26, 26. I actually took pictures of my magic cards. Amazing. Praise be to Suna. So I took, again, Pyromancy, so I took mostly damage, even though he doesn't really have a lot that can get affected. So I got Altered Sight and Fireball, and then I had Pyroclastic Flow, Cascading Fire, and Enveloping Embers. My goal, because I can't target his Immortals with it, because he's got 3 up 5 up, I'm not going to do any damage. My goal was to just try and eliminate the Orc Slaves, the Bolt Thrower, and the Hobgoblins with Pyromancy. And then just, put my cannons into his bound demons and his Kadim, and then ignore the Immortals, because, I don't know, I thought maybe, how could I get, a couple Flagellant blocks into that unit and really tear them up? But even if, I don't know, it's a tough matchup, even for Flagellants. So looking at my opponent's deployment, he picked table sides. I let him start deploying, and he just put everything down. He's got his bolt thrower on the left there, next to his Titan, and then 2 units of slaves. They're kind of they're big. Unfortunately, not everything's painted. But he was really working on, I think, his Immortals recently, and I think his bound demons or something like that. And then So he's got the 2 slaves in the middle with the hobgoblins behind. His big unit of immortals flanked by his 2 titan mortars, and then his 2 citadel guard on his would be his left flank, my right flank. Yep. And then his BSB is the one on the left, and his kind of like got like a really big axe there on the left in that picture, and then his prophet is the big hatted kind of old school chaos dwarf model. And then this is kind of looking at my deployment. It's kind of a long picture, but I'll just kind of walk you through it. So I've got both my cannons on the right of this picture, on, again, my left flank, right of the picture, with a unit of flagellants behind it. And then I have 1 unit of my light infantry, kind of up on the battle line. We were playing diagonal deployment. I can't think of the name right now. And then the objective is spoils of war. So you can kind of actually already see the markers kind of going across. So that's actually one of my favorite objectives. And Empire does a decent job with it because we can get a lot of scoring units. So we've got that mark in the middle, and then we've got the marker in front of one of my units of heavy infantry, who are actually turned backwards. They're kind of by that tower all the way to the left of this picture. So, sorry, begin to my deployment. Light infantry in front of a cannon, and then my heavy infantry with halberds, and my BSB's in there. I'll show you a picture where he is in a second. My wizard is behind the heavy infantry, and my unit of flagellants with my general in it. And then kind of right in front of that impassable train, that tower in the back of this picture, I have 10 more light infantry with crossbows. The 21 heavy infantry with sword and board are turned backwards. They're going to back up onto the objective, and then they're just going to march away with it. And then I have another unit of flagellants, kind of pretty far away in the back of this, and then all the way ending at the left of this picture is my my heavy infantry with spears. And they are rounding out my deployment. And that's it. Yeah. So it's spoils of war. So my goal was to use the heavy infantry with sword and board to get 1, and then he didn't really have much scoring for the 1 on the where his orc slaves are. So I was hoping to maybe get my heavy infantry with halberds over there. I do, I have the Banner Relentless Company. That's just a pic to show you where my BSB is. He's just on the corner of that unit. I didn't really know exactly where my BSB was going to be in every game. But I guess the good thing is he could almost go in any unit of heavy infantry and do different things. So my opponent got turn 1, and he barely moved. He moved his Kadim, and I'll show you where that is in a second. But yeah, pretty much we went right into the magic phase. I let him get Haze and Magnesia off, and it was probably the last time I was going to let him do that. I was really worried about, he had Alchemy, so he had Haze and Magnesia, he had Quicksilver Lash, I think, which barely did anything to my army, and then he had Silver Spike and +1 armor save spell. So he does end up getting a Silver Spike off, and he does a wound. I just couldn't stop it. And then he does a decent amount of wounds to my generals. He kills, like, I think 5 or 6, mostly with just the Icon and the Inferno. Just getting the D3 Blaze off every spell he casts. He gets a Titan Mortar with a partial hit on this unit, so, does some wounds. Doesn't really, I think he kills like 6, which is, still pretty good. At strength 2, but I guess better than the strength 4 hit. And then I get a big bonus here. This Titan Mortar rolls the double 1s, and it's out of the game. So now it's just a monster. So that's actually helpful, because those aren't fast monsters. They're tough, but they're not fast. Emperor Sonnstahl turn 1. Everything really pushes forward. So I move up with my flagellants on the left. I really want to get his Titan in there because I think that's one of the only units that can. All right, I need one of my flagellants to kill that Titan, and I've got 2 cannon shots this turn. I'm hoping to put some wounds on before it comes in. I move up my flagellants in the center because I just want, I'm seeing him like peel them off. I just need him to get into combat with me, even if he goes in on his turn 2. And then I move up my flagellants on the right, and I use my Banner Relentless Company on my heavy infantry to really put pressure on those flintlocks. Because I just need to get rid of those guys as soon as possible too, so they can, threaten with their scoring or just keep picking on things with their shooting. So, and then my heavy infantry, a little tentative to move too much forward. I don't want to get, you know, into combat in that forest with slaves and it just go poorly. So, in the magic phase, I really don't have that many things to cast. I'm trying to put some damage on some slaves, but I get an altered sight off out on a cannon, so I can hit on a 2-up. And then, I think I get a Pyroclastic flow off on one of the orc slaves. I think I roll average, and then I just roll really poorly, and it only does, like, 1 wound, which is whatever. You know, it's going to happen. I think they have a 6-up too, so he might even made a saves. My cannon with altered sight misfires and it takes a wound, which is unfortunate. But then my cannon with altered sight hits and it does 3 wounds to his titan. So I was pleased about that. So that was awesome. Because now I think, you know, because his titan is close enough to get frenzy baited, and even if it does want to come in, it'll kill a lot of flagellants. But I think, you know, 3 wounds in 1 phase with, like, all the attacks, we should kill that guy, you know. I shoot over here with my light infantry, and I pick off 1 flintlock guy, so, hey, that's 1 less shot on the board, am I right? Infernal Dwarves turn 2. This was when I was excited that his Titan came in. He actually just wanted to put it in there. And then, but I moved up, I actually gave these slaves a flank, and he took that too, and that, I misplayed that. I should have had, and I could have had my facing so that they had a front, but then that would have been better for the Titan. I don't know, it was kind of tough. But the slaves and the Titan come in, and then he's backing up his flintlocks here. This is just showing that his Titan mortar tried to charge my flagellants, but it failed by like a couple inches, but it moves like 4 inches forward or something like that. And then, yeah, this is just kind of looking what the rest of the battlefield looks like. He does not charge his immortals into my flagellants. He's comfortable just kind of blowing them up with the icon of the Inferno. One of his slaves, they look like they're they're on the objective in this picture, but, you know, they can't pick it up. So he's going to have to get his goblins on that to really pick that up. And then, yeah. So he's trying to back up to keep shooting me on the right here, but you know, we've closed in the gap. I should probably be able to get, I'm definitely going to be able to get my heavy infantry into one of those units. The flagellants, it's going to be a little bit more of a longer charge, but hopefully we can make it in on my turn 2. So this is just showing that he got a bunch of hexes and buffs offs. He's got, you know, they're flammable. And they had a phase of magnesia, and he just, you know, he took out another whole rank of my flagellants. So my general's unit, he's got the 1-up armor save up on these guys. So again, it's like I don't even really want to go into these guys, especially not with, you know, like 2 ranks of flagellants. That's not going to kill enough. I know I had thoughts of going in there, but I thought, like, I'm just going to lose all those guys, you know. The Titan mortar that can shoot does hit, and again, you can see it kills like another rank of this unit here, so that's unfortunate. I mean, those things are just, oof, those things are scary. I mean, I get a 6-up armor save against them, and it's still kind of easy just to lose. I mean, I lost like, I think 10 guys here or something like that. I'm 9 wide in this picture. I don't know why I was 9 wide. I think I just put my BSB on the corner. I don't know how I got to 9 wide. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm 9 wide though. It's weird. And then this got really disappointing. So, you know, we go into combat. You know, I'm like agility 0, so everything goes. He strikes with everything, and he just, you know, he just kills a ton. Even the orc slaves get a few wounds in here and there. And I strike back. I've got like 20. I think I had 18 or 19 attacks on the Titan because I had to put 3 on the flank, and I killed a couple slaves. Maybe just 1 because that one might have had 1 reduced. Whatever. I had 19 attacks, and I hit over them. You know, with my battle focus, I hit so well. I had like 22 hits. I got 5 wounds, and he made 3 saves, and his Titan's still alive. And I was like, crap, because I'm like, now I just don't feel like I have enough attacks to kill that thing. So, going into Emperor Sonnstahl turn 2, I actually missed my charging picks for this turn, and it was really stupid. But I'm going to go back on a pick. These guys pick up the objective, and now they're ready just to hightail it out of there. So this is the previous turn. So what I ended up doing here, as you can see, is I had a couple decisions to make. The heavy infantry in the forest charge the slaves. I need to kill a certain amount of slaves so that I can be steadfast against them. and also so that I can like help this combat. Because if I don't kill enough slaves, I might still be in the forest, and then if he kills a bunch of more flagellants with the Titan, I could also break from combat too. So that was a little bit of a gamble. And then in the middle, I decided to charge my Prelate into the flank of his Titan mortar, and also charge my flagellants in, and I make it with both. And I'm hoping just to kill that Titan mortar and then be able to overrun into some more of those flintlocks and just tie them up. In the magic phase, I get Enveloping Ember off on these guys, and I kill like 14 out of 30, or no, more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 15 left. I've killed exactly 15 out of 30, so really great rolls. They end up panicking, which is awesome, so they end up just running off the board at this point. They just fail a bunch of panic text and just keep inching away. So that was great. And then in combat here, I actually made way with my Prelate, and his orcs failed the fear test, which was awesome, because this was the one Prelate with the black steel. And then his Titan goes, and he puts all his attacks on my Prelate, because he kind of probably should have put his Prelate on that, or that guy on that side. I don't know why he didn't. Maybe he just wasn't like noticing. But he killed my Prelate this turn. He just put all his attacks on my Prelate, and he just smoked him. He got like so many hits, because he got like a bunch of I think he had like 9 hits, and he did like 7 wounds, and you know, I only had like a 5 up against all that. So unfortunately, he kills the Prelate. The orcs still suffered the fear, and my heavy infantry grind through them. I think they bring them down to 2 ranks. And then when it's all said and done with all the combat res, because he also kills a few more flagellants with his stomps and his flame hits, he loses by 1. And his Kadai fails his supernal check, and his orcs run away, and the flagellants get the orcs, and I just was able to combat reform with my heavy infantry, and that was awesome. Felt like I got really lucky there with the way the orcs like failed the fear. I was able to rip through them, and then he kind of, I mean, you know, when you win by 1, that's like so close. I did 2 wounds to his cannon with my, to his Titan mortar with my cannon last turn, and then these heavy infantry, they took like 7 wounds coming in from the stand and shoot on the flintlocks, and then they win combat by 1. Just barely did one better with like the charge and everything, and they also run these flintlocks off the table, so that was awesome. And then we go into this combat, and he puts a wound on my general, and then I go with everything, and unfortunately, even with all my attacks, you know, he's got a decent saving it, because I think they have like a 4-up, 5-up, so he makes a couple armor saves here and there, and then even with like my Prelate's like divine attacks, I think he puts 2 wounds on himself with his great weapon. It's sitting there with 4 wounds, and we're all unbreakable, so he just gets to stick. So close. I was really hoping that I could, because I think I would have just been able to clip the flintlock guys, and then I would have been able to try and get a flank with my general, and that would have been really actually, I guess it would have been one or the other. Actually, probably would have just been my general going in there and trying to get a flank, but that's okay. On Infernal Dwarves turn 3, he just kind of decides, he hesitated turn 2 charging his immortals and my flagellants, because again he was happy just to blow them away with like his Icon Inferno. But now he's like, the general's not gone. He's like, well, now I just got to get rid of this unit because they're in my way. So he comes in with immortals. He comes in with the flintlocks on the side, because at this point there's nothing for them to really shoot. And at this point, they could probably tie up those flagellants for like maybe 2 or 3 rounds of combat, because this round I'm not gonna really get any damage in against them. I only got like 2 guys, and then the next round, he's gonna I had to turn to face, and yeah, so yeah, and then he moves his orcs forward, and then basically that's what it's looking like. So it really wasn't that much magic, because I think he just buffed a couple things, but he couldn't really do any of the fun stuff. He just basically made sure he was going to kill those flagellants in the middle. And then over here, we're able to put that last wound on that guy. I'm able to turn to face the flintlocks. And then I'm actually pretty excited, because it's my turn next, so I'm going to be able to move before he can charge, hopefully. Emperor Sonnstahl turn 3. So, yes, I was not marsh blocked to my general, which is awesome. So I'm actually was able to just get him out of his arcosite. So he's kind of, I mean, he's can be easily picked out right now because obviously he's got all that alchemy. But now he's got a choice between my prelate or my like wizard and my BSB my BSB and the heavy infantry, which are now facing off against these orcs. And then we played this wrong. I wanted to charge, but like I knew that when you combat reform, you couldn't charge in the next. I thought it was your next turn, but it's next player turn. So I still could have charged because I ended up telling him that. I was like, yeah, I'm doing a combat reform, so I'm not gonna be able to charge in my next player turn. And I think that's the way I said it. And then we got to it, and I was like, I want to charge. And he's like, it's next player turn. And I was like, oh, I can't charge. But then I remember looking at the rule later, and I was like, oh, next player turn. I could have charged. That's okay. It was my misplay. I used my pyromancy just to get rid of this bolt thrower this turn. This thing's just been shooting my wizard all game, trying to get that like he's always shooting behind a forest. So at this point, it might even been hitting on a forest. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. I don't want to lose my wizard to just a hobgoblin bolt thrower. And then in combat over here, I think he does like 5 wounds, and it looks like we do like 4 wounds. So he ends up just winning combat by 1. And yeah, he just we're all sticking around. Yeah, he rolled really well. I mean, he's only wounding on 3s, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3, or hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. It's not that hard to do a few wounds. And then yeah, this is just kind of showing. This is kind of just another pick of showing how the game is looking, because I think it might speed up in some ways. I might lose a couple turns here and there. I think they're mostly my turns. I think I lose because my turns had less movement, and it was really more important to show exactly where the immortals were going every turn. So just to kind of take in that picture. And this is also show that like I have 1 objective. His immortals are sitting on an objective, and yeah. So right now we're tied on the objective. So Empress Sonnstahl turn 4. I finally charge in here. The previous turn, he was able to get Word of Iron off on these guys, so they have like a 4-up armor save, which is hilarious, buffing slaves. And so, but I come in with my wizard cart, and I come in with my dudes. I'm basically just going to try and force off Cascading Fire, and I'm going to try and get Altered Sight on my guys so they can hit better. That was basically what I wanted to do. I was hoping with like impact hits and everything to maybe bust through these guys, because and you'll see in a second why they really needed to. One of my cannons, between my cannon shots, I'm able to kill off the Titan Mortar, so that was awesome. Those guys are expensive, so I was happy to get both of those. And then we go into the combat phase, and I'm just not able to kill enough of these guys. I mean, they've got some saves up against a lot of my attacks, and like even against my impact hits, he was just making a couple saves. I only really do about 4 or 5 wounds or something like that. He does a couple wounds. We win combat, but he turned his block immortals, and they're in my flank right now, and they're 11 inches away. But thank Suna, he failed this charge, so he was able to easily kind of pass like his leadership test last round, because these immortals were super close. He had his BSB and his, they're discipline 9 with a reroll. So they're not going to break. He had like an 11-inch charge to make to get into my flank, to kill my BSB, to overrun to my wizard cart. Or I don't think he could overrun the cart because he would have overlapped on his slaves, but at least the slaves could have gone after the cart. And he fails it, and whew, big swing in this game. A huge swing. So in the magic phase, since he's not in combat, he basically is able to use Daikon Inferno to get rid of the... get rid of one of my cannons. He put a Haze of Magnesia on it. It's like, do I let him... I don't think he had flaming attacks. I don't know. I couldn't stop a lot of his... He had big magic phases a lot of times too, so... And then in my turn 5, I'm able to kill the slaves, run them down, and between his turn 4 and my turn 5... Or actually, really, in his turn 5 and my turn 5, I kill the slaves, I run them down, I get my heavy infantry on the marker out of line of sight of his immortals, and then I'm able to move my wizard and get him behind this building. So I'm thinking like, yes, you know, I'm like, I've got the objective. All I got to do is keep my heavy infantry alive. I've got the objective. And he's got to really kind of, again, he's got to pick at this point, like, what's he going to choose? I've got, like, this unit of flagellants has gotten mixed in. They never got killed. And at the bottom of this picture, there's just a bunch of dead flagellant bodies. They're still alive, technically, by that building. They just, they never did anything after that game, after they killed the Katai. And then, yeah, I've still got a lot of units on the board, and then I'm hoping to get the objective at this point. Really hopeful. I put both my prelates that were from the different unit into this unit, and then I screened them with prelates, because I'm like, if he wants to try and kill them with fire, like, he's going to have to kill flagellants, and then he's going to have to try and panic this unit, and I'm like, hopefully that won't happen. Because if they were both in the flagellant unit, like, they could have really gotten picked out. You know, it's only like 6 flagellants alive over there. So on his last turn, he moves up so that you can see my wizard, and he's just able to get a silver spike out to kill him. I had to stop Haze and Magnesia on my heavy infantry so he couldn't get rerolls to wound and the extra D3+1 flame hits. And then, you know, he's putting his, you know, he's trying to get his, I think he got a low phase, but he was able to get 3 spells off, and he killed my wizard, and he did a couple wounds to my heavy infantry, but they have steady men up, and they're able to pass their discipline test, and then they're able to get the objective. This is done with the objective on my last turn, and, they were just able to, like, stay alive. And I think this is after I might have took a picture of them. They might have marched out. I'm pretty sure I still have my banner on this company, and this is them at the end of the game. Like, they marched away with it and won the objective. Oh man, this was this is probably, I don't want to spoil it, but this might have been my favorite game that I played at Sonnstahl. This game was just like so weird because we both had like sort of ineffective magic. His ended up being more effective than mine, surprisingly. I would have thought I had the edge, but I guess I could only really target 3 of his units. Him with Haze and Magnesia, he can just still really do a lot of damage to my flagellant blocks. But we had a great time playing this game. Ended up being a 15-5. It was just a 12, you know, it was a 12-8 before, and then I won on the objective. So yeah, really fun game. I felt like both of our shooting was pretty equal. You know, I didn't really do that much with my light infantry. His tight mortars, one of his tight mortars got a couple good hits, actually 3 good hits in on my heavy infantry with my halberds. It killed like probably almost 30 of them before they even got to combat. My cannons did 3 wounds to his Titan, and then killed one of his Titan mortars. It sucked losing, you know, it sucked for him losing, you know, that one Titan mortar turn 1. I know that's just so rough, bringing your artillery and losing it. Which sometimes, I don't know, I'm like, ugh. Somebody was asking if we should get rid of miscasts, and I'm like, no. I like the miscast table now. I didn't like it at first, but I'm like, it feels balanced, but it feels a little bit weaker, but like it doesn't really affect the games too much, but when it does, it's like responsible to use, I feel like. Misfire table sometimes just is like so butthurt annoying. Because even though it's nice how the 1 doesn't make you lose your artillery piece anymore. And in his case, you know, he's still got a monster out of it, but it's an expensive, you know, medium stat monster. That's slow. But we had a really fun game. You know, it was such a weird magic battle. I feel like my magic was so ineffective. I can only target orcs and goblins. And a bolt thrower, he could only, you know, wherever his Magnesia went, he could do some damage. But, like, that's, you know, 1 unit a turn, basically. Yeah, we had a lot of fun playing this. We got to play in the front of the store, and it was, like, nice and quiet. We called it the gentleman's table. It was great, actually. Little tight, because the game store was a little tight everywhere. But really fun game. I want to thank my opponent for such a fun game. I haven't really played an ID list like this before. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed watching this battle report, and I'll have another one out pretty soon. So enjoy.